I want to return to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. One of the guiding schools of thought on all sides, I think, for years has been the need for the U.S. to facilitate direct negotiations between the two parties. And in fact, you acknowledged that this morning in your answer to Ms. Lowy. So now, outside the framework of any negotiations, outside the framework of any anticipated final status agreement, this administration has made a series of moves. One, you move the U.S. Embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem unilaterally, apart from the kind of broader agreement previous administrations have sought. Two, you close the Palestinian Embassy in Washington, D.C. Three, you shut down the U.S. consulate in Jerusalem, the main U.S. eyes and ears on the ground in the West Bank and the main interlocutor for communicating with the Palestinians. Four, you cut off all U.S. contributions to UNRWA, closing schools in Gaza and exacerbating the severe humanitarian crisis there. Five, you cut off all assistance to the West Bank, even assistance going through American-led implementing partners on the ground for things like food security, education for children with autism. I have an explicit example of that from some people working with a school in Bethlehem on that autism challenge. Water treatments, oncology medicine, as well as programs that bring Israelis and Palestinians together for dialogue and conflict mitigation. Now, you're about to unveil a long-awaited peace agreement that you have drafted, no doubt with demands to follow, that the Palestinians be grateful for that plan and regard the U.S. as a fair-minded arbiter who respects their aspirations. Can you tell me how this is supposed to work? Am I missing something?
Yes. Yes, you are.
Well, please tell me.
You're missing the history. Those things that you identified, the recognition of Jerusalem as the eternal capital of Israel, the homeland for the Jewish people, the decision to take the Israeli sovereignty, to recognize Israeli sovereignty, those are all things that are different. What went before didn't work. I think you'd have to acknowledge that. Decades of trying the old way failed to resolve this conflict. It just.
So the idea.
I've met with each of the. If I may, just one more moment. I've met with each of the individuals who have been involved with this at different times, over different times in my life. I've talked to them about the complexity of this situation, and to a person, they would acknowledge that the efforts that they made, the theories that they used, the strategy they developed, failed to achieve the outcome that I think you and I share.
So you're satisfied that this administration has reached out effectively to the Palestinians and has assured them of your good faith and your goodwill, and that the Palestinian reaction to this is somehow off base.
Our vision will demonstrate our commitment that we want Palestinians to have a better life as well. And I personally have had a number of interactions during my time in the executive branch with the leadership inside of the West Bank. I hope they will view us as a fair arbiter. We want a better outcome for both Israel and the people living in the West Bank and the Gaza Strip as well.
What does closing their embassy in Washington have to do with being a fair arbiter, or closing, I think equally serious, is closing that consulate in Jerusalem? That basically cuts off diplomatic ties in both directions. And when the Hope Flowers School has an autism program that this country has supported and that many people are invested in, and all of a sudden that funding's removed, when you have to pave over an infrastructure project in Jericho because the money's running out, is that demonstrating the kind of and you know, in the case of Venezuela, you've been very persuasive about the need to show empathy and support for ordinary people. I don't know how that lesson is lost. It appears to me, honestly, Mr. Secretary, that it has been lost on the Palestinian community.
I appreciate your view. It's different from mine. I was just in that space. I was just at the facility that you referred to. Our connectivity, the people at the State Department that have worked on this issue in the West Bank for years are continuing to work on it.
So how do you assess the Palestinian response to closing their embassy and closing our consulate and cutting off all this aid, freezing the aid and then cutting it off? They're somehow supposed to be grateful for this?
What we're aiming to do is resolve a decades-long conflict.
And this is the path forward, you're confident, to totally marginalize and alienate the Palestinian side.
I'm very confident that what was tried before failed, and I'm optimistic that what we're doing will give us a better likelihood that we'll achieve the outcomes that will be better for both the people of Israel and the Palestinian people as well.
Well, we certainly share that objective, and we will await the response on all sides to your peace plan, and also hope for a very measured response if that plan is criticized from the Palestinian side, as surely one can anticipate it will be.
Yes, sir. Thank you.